Alrighty, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. My name is Anthony DeSimone with my 12th edition of Penguins Pointers. We'll keep this one rather brief since Penguins really didn't play any hockey last week, aside from Letang and Malkin, who were at the All-Star game. If anybody did watch the All-Star game, both of them did have good performances in the skills competition and in the overall game. Though the Metropolitan did not win the 3-on-3 championship, Malkin and Letang both had good showings at it, so it was nice to see that the Penguins represented themselves well at the NHL All-Star Game. Going down the line, Kunitz is going to be a game-time decision for Ottawa, which is our game tonight. He suffered an injury against the Flyers when he hit himself awkwardly up against the bench during a body check, and they kept him out of the game as a precaution and kept him out in Vancouver as an undisclosed injury. They said he will be a game-time decision, so hopefully we'll see him back on the ice. Hopefully those 5 days off will be a bit of a benefit to him. Next thing down, overall the team should be well rested. I was reading through some of the Penguins releases that they had on the players, and Crosby said he was able to enjoy the couple days off. Fleury spent some time with his kids, and Mata went and relaxed a little bit. So overall they said they feel quite rested, is the general consensus you're getting from the Penguins, and that should be honestly NHL-wide. Most of the teams probably had those couple days, either went home and spent time with their families, or went and did something for a few days, just got away from the ice for a little bit. So and it's kind of like their mid-season break. So aside from the holiday breaks, that's about all they get. Down to the last point here, everybody needs to keep in mind that we're starting on a 3-game winning streak. We had won our last 3 games before the All-Star break, and this is a real good opportunity for the Penguins to string together another 3 wins before the league realizes we have a 6-game winning streak under our belt. Because then most people are going to assume, all right, we're starting back from the break. Hey, they got a 3-game winning streak. When we actually realize that's 6 games, that's 12 points. And those 3-game winning streak actually pulled us a little bit further out of that standing thicket I was talking about the last 2 posts. But we'll get to that in just a second. But like I said in the last blog, we finally needed to get a winning streak. We haven't had one in about a month and a half, 2 months. We've only had as most 2 wins in a row before we lost another. Otherwise, we were going win-loss, win-loss. So now you have a 3-game winning streak. And this is a perfect opportunity to stretch that out to 4 or 5, maybe even 6 before you get that loss. But this is a real good chance for the Penguins to pull themselves out of that wild card standings and give themselves a little bit more of a prominent position in the playoffs as we move closer to the end of the season. Because now we're in February. We only have February, March, and the beginning of April of hockey left. Not a ton of hockey left, so this is where you got to start making your pushes. But let's jump over to those standings. So as you can see, Washington Capitals still top of the board, 74 points. Rangers and Islanders still fighting for second and third. If we jump past the Atlantic Division and head to the wild card, you see the Penguins have gone from 11th to 8th place with that 3-game winning streak and are actually 1 point out of the top 3 spot in the Metropolitan Division. So they are very much still in contention to get a Metropolitan top 3 spot right now. If they can keep that winning streak going, they can easily knock either the Islanders or the Rangers out of their spot and maybe start taking a run at Washington if they really get their motor running. But for now, let's focus on getting out of the wild card now. We've kind of given ourselves a little bit of distance between teams like the Canadiens and the Senators and the Flyers, as we've had 3 to 5 points from them. But you still got to watch out for the Devils and the Hurricanes. They're still going to be fighting to get back in the wild card spot. But just looking over at that in the hunt section, to see the Canadiens where they are after having such a phenomenal start to the season is just, that is hard as a general hockey fan that I am to see a team struggle that bad. They had such a great start. They were, I think, in first or if not a close second in about the first 20 games into the season, and since they have just not been able to win. I think they've only won 5 games since losing Carey Price to his injury, and he's supposed to be out for a couple more weeks because he had a relapse. So now it's just so sad to see the Canadiens. You've just watched them slowly fall all the way down the bottom of the standings, and that's where they're sitting now. They now sit in 11th. But just my little tidbit, some things I watch aside from the Penguins is things like that. And to be honest, behind the Flyers in 14th, you really can't discount them yet. If you guys remember Dan Bylsma, he's with Buffalo. Buffalo is behind the Flyers, with 44 points, which is a stretch, but they're still back there. So even the 14th spot in the Eastern Conference is not really out of playoff contention yet. It's a stretch for them, but they still have some life. But like I said, Penguins got the wild card spot locked up right now. They have the tiebreaker against the Devils. If you're wondering why the Devils and the Penguins are the way they are in the standings, we hold the tiebreaker after our last couple wins. Speaking of games, our next game coming up is tonight at 7 o'clock. They'll be facing off against the Ottawa Senators, who have 52 points in the Eastern Conference, which puts them 6th in the Atlantic and 12th place in the Hunt section, so they're not too far behind us. But this is a 4-point game technically, because what will happen here is, let's say Ottawa wins this game. Ottawa bumps up to 54. The Penguins get nothing, and it becomes a 1-point lead for Pittsburgh at that point. And plus, if the Devils decide they want to win a game, then we're in a little bit more of water, and we fall back into the wild card thicket again, in the Hunt thicket, which let's try to avoid that, But some tips, I think, to win. Still haven't been seeing a lot of this. We've played a lot of this, especially with Vancouver. The come-from-behind game that was down to the wire. We need to score first. I mean, I've said this a couple times now, but it hasn't really been happening. We've been playing catch-up, which is, if it's working for you, good, but I'd rather get off to a strong start and get the lead and play, keep away in the third period, not catch up in the third period where we have to get 2 goals to tie the game. I mean, just me as a personal preference, I'd rather have the lead going into the third. So I say score first. The power play is going to be crucial in this game. If the Penguins can deliver and have a strong power play, they're going up against the team that has the worst penalty kill in the league right now. Ottawa's penalty kill is at 75%, which is 30th in the NHL. So this is a golden opportunity for that power play, which has been clicking these last few games with that 3-game winning streak, to get a couple power play goals and really give us some distance if Ottawa decides to go to the box tonight. And lastly, Carl Hagelin. Been doing very well in Pittsburgh, setting up a lot of players. He has a couple assists under his belt. I want to see Hagelin score a goal. Hagelin did the chivalrous thing, if you will, and gave the empty netter to his captain, Sidney Crosby, which I thought was some great showmanship by him, considering he is a new addition to the team. That shows that he understands the importance of Sidney Crosby to this team, and he understands that Sidney is the captain, and that is just a show and tip of the cap of Carl Hagelin to Crosby. So hopefully that was a little bit of a chemistry building thing for them to see that happen. But I'd like to see Carl Hagelin score a goal. And maybe with that event occurring, they'll give him a couple more shots at getting a goal. He's had some golden opportunities, some of them just missed. I think him and Kessel have been clicking quite well, especially with Malkin. Now they have the dangerous winger speed to accompany Malkin's skating ability and shooting ability. So that second line is going to become very dangerous. So hopefully Carl Hagelin will get a goal. I think that would be another key point to win this game, but we'll find out as the story will be written tonight. I want to thank you guys, though, for listening in right now. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe. And if you'd like to like the video, go for it. Otherwise, I will catch you guys next time. Take care.